Just before the harvest bursts from the soil, there is a precious, invisible moment. Here, the roots of prosperity have extended deep beneath the surface, unseen by the eyes of the impatient. This is exactly the moment when most people give up. But I am telling you now, with unshakable certainty, that when you want to give up, when you think that nothing is happening, that is exactly when prosperity is already on its way. The universe rewards you not on the day of work, but on the day of faith. On the day you continue even when it seems as though nothing is moving, there are laws of prosperity. It is not random. It does not favor the lucky. It favors the prepared. If you are not seeing the results you want, it is not because you are cursed or unworthy, because your harvest is still being tested, strengthened, expanded beneath the surface. And your job is not to panic. Your job is to trust the process. The signs of incoming prosperity are often disguised as opposition. Your relationships begin to change. Distractions intensify. You may feel the ground beneath your feet shaking. You may feel alone and isolated. But listen to me. This shaking is not destruction. This is a matter of alignment. Before your new identity emerges, your old identity has to break. The door to wealth is hidden behind the collapse of comfort. If you feel uncomfortable, this shows that your mind is opening to a new vision. Prosperity does not come to the strongest, the smartest. It comes to the man who refuses to give up when nothing works. You must understand this truth. The darkest moment comes just before dawn. This is not poetry, it is law. So if life has been heavy, quiet, full of resistance, celebrate. This means that pressure is creating something valuable inside you, but this is what separates the few people who attain prosperity from the many who only dream of it. They respond to pressure, not with panic, but with preparation. They look at the storm and say, "This is my test. Here I will prove who I am." And this mindset is the exact vibration that causes opportunity to recognize you. You do not become rich by accident. First, you become rich through an inner change. Before you obtain the money, the promotion, the job, the influence, you must become the version of yourself capable of handling it. Otherwise, even if it comes to you, you will lose it. Because your habits cannot hold what your hands are trying to carry. So if you want to know whether prosperity is on its way, do not look at your bank account. Look at your growth curve. Are you learning? Are you being challenged? Are you doing the difficult work every day that no one applauds? Do you keep moving even when no one applauds? Then I promise you, you are closer than you think. One of the devil's greatest lies is this: if you were created to succeed, it would be easier. Do not believe this lie. Success never comes from ease. It comes from repeated discipline, aligned vision, and especially persistent action in silence. In fact, let me tell you, if your life feels quiet right now, you are in a perfect position, because silence is the womb of transformation. Most people need noise, approval, likes, applause, and because they chase this noise, they lose alignment with their calling. But if you can manage to stay focused while the world is silent, it means you are being entrusted with something greater. And here is the deeper secret. The reason you have not yet attained prosperity is not because you are failing. The reason is because you are being shaped. The Creator does not bless the unprepared. He blesses the person who disciplines their emotions, controls their thoughts, keeps their word, and continues to walk regardless of their mood, circumstances, or opinions. That is why you must stop saying, "Nothing is happening." You must begin to understand that everything is happening, only in a form you have not yet noticed. What you call rejection is direction. What you call silence is preparation. What you call waiting is actually preparation. The moment you give up your need for instant gratification is the moment you step into the mindset of true wealth. That is why I tell you to write down your definite purpose and repeat it every day to plant it into your subconscious. Because long before the results arrive, the mind must believe. And when they come, they all come at once. Like a broken dam, like rain after drought, like lightning in the night sky, overwhelming, undeniable, unexpected. But the person who receives this blessing is not surprised. They are ready. That person should be you as well. Do not complain. Do not compare. Do not curse the soil while your seed is growing. Do not retreat underground. Instead, focus on becoming the version of yourself capable of carrying the harvest. Get up early. Read with hunger. Train with discipline. Speak clearly. Move with quiet certainty. This is what magnetizes prosperity. Most people live in a cycle of failure, not because they lack ability, but because they constantly interrupt their growth cycle with doubt, distractions, and drama. Emotional self-control requires prosperity. You must be a person who can maintain focus even when surrounded by chaos, because when your mind is unshakable, prosperity naturally comes. Now ask yourself, am I training my focus or am I feeding my frustration? Am I repeating my old habits or am I establishing new standards? Am I behaving like a beggar or am I thinking like a builder? Because the person who builds something, even in private, even in struggle, is the person who will soon walk in abundance. Prosperity does not knock on the door of the undisciplined. It quietly enters the lives of those who are already preparing. So I leave you with this question. If your breakthrough happened tomorrow, how would you feel? Are you ready? If not, your test is today. It is not potential, it is preparation. Your habits, your reactions, your discipline, your thoughts. These are the signals you send to the universe. And if you pass today's test, you will step into tomorrow's blessing. You may not see it yet, but the signs are already there. Prosperity does not always announce itself with fireworks and parades. Most of the time it comes quietly through a strange opportunity, a new idea, or an uncomfortable change. The problem is not that prosperity is not coming. The problem is that you have not learned to recognize it. You keep looking for your harvest in the form of money. But before money, the universe sends instructions. Before wealth comes, you are given an assignment. Something small, humble, requiring faith to pursue and discipline to complete. And most people disqualify themselves here. They reject the first sign of prosperity because it does not look like a blessing. It looks like work, but I am telling you now, your enemy is never work. The bridge between your prosperity and your prosperity is purposeful work. Your faith and your breakthrough. That is why I say, stop chasing money. Chase your purpose. Chase excellence. Chase obedience to your inner voice. The money will come. This is the first test of prosperity. Can you trust the instructions before the reward? The person who does their work without waiting for applause is the person who succeeds. They do not wait to feel ready. They take action. They adapt. They learn. They do not ask how long it will take. They ask, how far can I go every day if I remain faithful? When you fulfill your purpose and wake up every day, you are sending a signal, and that signal says, I am ready, but every time you say, I will do it tomorrow, you send a different signal. I am not ready yet. The law of prosperity responds not to your desires, but to your signals. And the strongest signal is silence and preparation. Let me ask you, are you stitching when no one is watching? Are you writing your vision even when it seems far away? Are you completing small tasks, knowing that they will lead to greater assignments? Because when you do this, you align yourself with the vibration of increase. That is when you become the kind of person you want to be. The person who attracts solutions, ideas, collaborators, and open doors. Not by chasing, but by transforming. And this is what separates those who only desire success from those who live inside success. They know that success is not something to be caught. Success is something to prepare for. Now let me tell you about something most people ignore. Prosperity has a pattern. If you study the lives of those who are permanently successful, not temporarily, you will see the same signs before their breakthroughs. Loneliness before increase. The world becomes quiet. Friends move away. Distractions disappear, not because you have lost, but because you are being purified for clarity. Pressure before expansion. Your mind feels trapped. Old identities begin to die. You feel stretched, because your soul is being resized to hold a greater future. Resistance before reward. Things become harder, not easier. But this is the gym of the soul. Resistance develops your capacity, and capacity determines how much you can carry. If you are experiencing these things, rejoice. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. But this is only valid if you continue, because most men fail not because of a lack of potential, but because they misinterpret preparation as punishment. They say, if it were meant to be, it would be easier. No, if it is meant to be, it will be tested, because what comes too easily is never respected, and what is not respected is quickly lost. Prosperity must be earned in the silent hours of discipline, the dark days of delay, and the lonely moments of obedience. So do not ask for ease, ask for strength, ask for vision, ask for the will to keep building, even when the world is silent. Because once you understand that silence, your voice will create impact. Now let us be practical. What can you do when you feel stuck? When you feel like nothing is moving forward? When you are unsure whether prosperity is real? You act with faith. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision. It is acting as though the future is already real. How do you do this? Like this. Incorporate success into your daily routine. Even if the room is empty, move with excellence. Write your goals in the present tense. I am not like that. I hope it is so. Track your wins, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Associate only with people who speak the language of vision. Your job is not to produce results. Your job is to remain in alignment. When the time comes, everything will appear unexpectedly, rapidly, powerfully, but only if you have not disqualified yourself during the waiting process. Prosperity is a mirror. It reflects your faith. If you believe in scarcity, it hides. If you believe in abundance, it reveals itself. So how do you prove your faith? Not with desperation, not with worry, but with calm, consistent, courageous action. You move with intention. You organize your day. You control your mind. You speak powerfully. You forgive your past. You behave as though the future is already yours, and this mindset is magnetic. It attracts people, ideas, capital, strategies, divine timing, and this mindset is magnetic. It attracts people, ideas, capital, strategies, divine timing. Everything you once prayed for eventually moves toward your believing self. Let me say goodbye to you with this. The clearest sign that prosperity is near is not that life becomes easier. It is that life begins demanding more from you. Your tolerance for distractions decreases. Your desire to be great intensifies. Your old environment no longer satisfies you, and your inner voice begins speaking louder than your outer world. Smile when this happens because it means you are in alignment. It means the harvest is almost ready. But remember, even when the fruit appears, you must be the kind of person who can carry it with discipline, generosity, and wisdom. That is why you are preparing. So, keep moving. Do not look at the clock. Look at your character. Do not look for signs. Be the sign. Prosperity is not coming. It is already on its way. Let me tell you something many people ignore. Prosperity responds to identity, not to the identity you show the world, but to the identity you repeat to yourself when you are alone. If you see yourself as small, worthless, broken, or left behind, you attract circumstances that confirm this image. But the person who sees themselves as strong, valuable, disciplined, and chosen attracts prosperity, not through luck, but because their self-concept is aligned with abundance. Understand this. The subconscious mind does not care what you want. It responds to what you believe is true about yourself. So if you say, I want more, but I believe I do not deserve it, you remain where you are. That is why I gave you the formula for self-confidence, not as poetry, but as programming. Reshape your image of yourself. Say it again and out loud. I know that I have the ability to accomplish my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand continuous and consistent action to achieve this purpose, and I promise here and now that I will carry out this action. This is not positive thinking. This is a spiritual law. When you speak with faith and act with consistency, the world has to reorganize itself to match your vibration. Because the person who succeeds before being seen as successful, the person who walks like a successful person, is the person who will soon be successful. Now I will give you something even more powerful. Most people ask, when will prosperity come? And I say, prosperity is already here, but have you learned how to let it in? The blessings you want are waiting behind doors called discipline, focus, action, and gratitude. When you pass through each of these doors, you unlock another level of access. Let us go through each one together. Discipline, the first door. Discipline is the foundation of all prosperity. It is the choice to do what needs to be done, even when your emotions are not there. You must train your body to serve your mind. You must do this. Control your focus. Get up when the alarm rings. Keep your small promises. Remain faithful to the standard you have set. If you cannot manage yourself, you cannot manage anything else. Discipline increases your confidence in yourself, and trust is the root of self-confidence. When you walk with confidence, the world listens to you, and so do opportunities. Focus. The second door. Prosperity cannot reach a distracted man. If your mind is scattered, if you are chasing 10 things, if you cannot stay on one path long enough to take it all the way to the end, you will always start and never finish. Prosperity rewards the man who can sustain his attention, who can say no, who can silence the noise, who can sit and build quietly. You do not need more time. You need more focus. Even 1 hour of focused time a day applied with intention is more powerful than 10 distracted hours. Action, the third door. Action is the lifeblood of prosperity. The man who waits will wait forever for the perfect moment. You must move, even if you are not certain, even if you are afraid, even if you do not have all the answers. You learn by moving. You collapse through hesitation, so take the step, make the call, write the page. Start the project, create the habit. Every time you move forward, you send the I am ready signal, and the signal changes the frequency of your life. Gratitude, the fourth door. Gratitude is not weakness. It is not softness. It is the most magnetic emotion you can produce. It tells your subconscious that you already have more than enough. And from this place, you attract more. Gratitude raises your vibration. It carries you from complaint to creation. It silences scarcity and strengthens vision. Write down 3 things you are grateful for every morning. Say them out loud. Allow the emotion to rise inside you. And then say, "Please give me more of this." The universe always responds to the person who appreciates what they already have. Now listen carefully, because this is the final lesson. Prosperity is not something you obtain. It is something you grow into. If you chase it from a place of fear, you push it away. If you try to manipulate it through shortcuts, you lose it. But if you become disciplined, focused, courageous, and grateful, you live inside it. Not as an accident, not by chance, but as a new normal. You will begin to expect success because you are arrogant, but because you have the right to expect it. And when you expect success, when you speak about success, when you behave like success, you create success. This is the hidden law. Your inner world writes the script. Your outer world must follow it. So make the decision today. I will no longer ask life for blessings. I will prepare myself to receive them. I will no longer sabotage opportunities with doubt. I will meet them with confidence. I will no longer fear delay. I will see it as divine timing. I will no longer shrink in the face of growth. I will expand, reach, and rise, because prosperity is not something that comes to those who are lucky. It is the result of being a person who walks with clarity, builds with faith, and refuses to give up until the result bows to their belief. So, if you are asking, is prosperity on its way? I will answer like this. Look in the mirror. If the man looking back is still growing, still moving, still preparing, then the answer is not one day. The answer is yes. It is already here. Act accordingly now.